The Unforgivable, new drama out on Netflix starring Sandra Bullock, Viola Davis, Vincent D'Onofrio, and John Bernthal. It's been in the works for more than 10 years, originally meant to star Angelina Jolie in the lead role, but that didn't pan out for various reasons. The film is also based on a British miniseries called Unforgiven, and in the case of the film, the title was changed to avoid confusion with the Clint Eastwood anti-western called, of course, Unforgiven. At the beginning of the film, Sandra Bullock's character Ruth gets out of prison after 20 years. Through flashbacks, we learn that after the death of her parents, she was taking care of her kid sister until one day people came to evict them from their family house, and the tragedy happened. Ruth was found guilty of shooting and murdering the local sheriff, and her sister went to a foster family. Their entire lives forever changed. Now that Ruth gets out, she is trying to rebuild anything resembling a normal life. She finds a job, she meets regularly with her parole officer, and she's also trying to get legal help in finding a way to find and contact her sister, who is the only person she still has in the world. But of course, it's difficult to find any help when you have this label stuck onto you, cop killer. So first of all, Sandra Bullock is terrific in the role. She gives a really harrowing performance of a woman who is utterly broken, who had her life ripped away from her, and has basically nothing. Even the little sliver of hope that she still clings onto is kind of unrealistic. And despite all of that, she keeps trying. She keeps moving forward one day at a time. She shows up at work, does the job, shows up at the meetings with the parole officer, and she never, not once, tries to justify or excuse her past in any way. She just quietly accepts it, never really fighting people who would accuse her or talk down to her because of what happened. You can see it in her face. This message of, yes, I know what I did, I have to live with it for the rest of my life, and I have served 20 years for it in prison. It's an incredibly interesting premise because on the one hand, we do sympathize with her and we see her as someone who deserved punishment for sure, but has done that part and now would probably deserve a second chance at life. But we also understand the point of view of all the side characters in the film, the reluctance or outright refusal to engage with Ruth, a convicted murderer. These side characters, especially the ones portrayed by Davis, D'Onofrio, and Bernthal, give context to Ruth, make her point of view more meaningful by providing different perspectives. And they're all very well played as well. My probably favorite scene of the entire film is between Bullock and Bernthal. It's a scene that happens in a diner, and then right afterwards there's this beautifully tragic shot of Bullock walking away from there with all these repressed emotions just washing over her face. Brilliant stuff. Now, here's one big issue I have with the film. For about 3/4 of its runtime, it is this very mature adult story which is in no way black and white and is an engrossing exploration of morality in the context of someone coming out of prison, someone who was 100% guilty and punished, but now that that part is over, how do we view them? How do we look at them? How do we treat them? And then in the last quarter, the story suddenly pivots. First, there is a pretty dumb reveal for one of the side characters involving an affair, which doesn't really bring anything to the table except, I guess, a cheap way to provide motivation. And then almost immediately afterwards, there's an even bigger reveal, which has to do with Ruth herself. A plot twist of sorts. Which I won't say what happens exactly, but it unfortunately recontextualizes the entire film. And I say unfortunately because it turns it for the worse. I think the new light in which we begin to see Ruth removes a lot of the complexity of the character and the moral judgment that we as the audience pass. I think it becomes a much clearer cut. But also in terms of the logistics, it does become fairly stupid, and I couldn't suspend my disbelief any longer that those were the choices and those were the results of those choices that would have happened. So I thought that instead of sticking to the relatively simple premise, the movie suddenly decided to cheap drama, just inject cheap drama just for the sake of a shock reveal, and in the process, it ruined a lot of what it was, up until that point in the film. And that brings it down for me. And I'm sad to say that the film was really shaping up to be excellent overall, but with the way the plot goes in the end, it's just okay. It's just an all right movie. Although, admittedly, I'd say even so, it's still worth seeing, even just for Bullock alone, because she is really good in it.